Hey, so in this video I will give you an overview of the finalized v1.1 and explain some of the design decisions that I made. The biggest change is that the aluminum cover now makes up two sides, whereas before it was just a flat panel. For single 250 watt GaN use, this means a higher thermal mass and bigger surface area of the panel that it is attached to. And this gives you far better access to the internals. I made some room in the base for a standard 12mm power button, so you wouldn't have to mount it to the cover. Everything can be wired and managed before you put the cover on. This also makes the power button stick out a little less, 0.5mm instead of 1.5. But what one might find to be the biggest improvement and selling point is that you can now expand the base by about a liter to make room for a second 250 watt GaN and something like the RTX 4070. This requires the extension and another cover, but you could at any point go from 393 to 497 liters and back. Viability of ATX size cards or your needs might change in the future. Personally, I would much rather have a high quality ATX size card, but one commenter asked about the 4090, and yes, with the v1.1 it should not be too difficult to make it fit. The FE is 61mm while you only have 58 on the inside, but a little Dremel work here and a spacer between the base and a custom cover will enable you to fit it in. And then you could also use a SFX power supply because you already added the required thickness and length while making room for the card. Both the second FE fan and the power supply fan would be in this section, so I would design the extension closed at the front and ventilated in the cover and base. The power supply could be placed with the fan to either side, and the FE could perfectly utilize its flow-through design. SFX and 4090 would increase the overall size to about 8 liters. A Flex-ATX power supply extension could look something like this and would be suited for cards up to around 270mm at still well below 6 liters. Both SFX and Flex-ATX power supplies could be mounted directly onto the side or hidden. The existing opening for a standard AC plug can be used to fit the necessary extension cord. So the v1.1 of the 393 is now not only a great little case, but its layout with all the basic cutouts and standoffs in place, as well as the steel construction with all these bends that add stiffness, make it a good starting point for many modifications. With extensions in mind, I added these 3 pilot holes, and I optimized the size of the graphics card opening. At the top and bottom I added 4 pilot holes that could be used to fix a stand to it or mount the entire case into or onto a bigger box. You could also use them to make a precise rectangular cutout. I used the spacing of the M3 threads on the GaN and aligned them to the mounting holes in the 393 cover. This might look better because of the recurring pattern and could prove more useful than if I had chosen a different spacing at random. 2 more pilot holes were added to mount riser cables. I'm not 100% sure about the spacing and whether there's a standard for this, so it's just small pilot holes for now. I can line everything up and still adjust the center of the final standoff hole if I should need to. The mount of the I/O bracket has some play, and the required riser is not something niche but a regular dual reverse, which you might already have laying around because it's also used on many sandwich style cases. 2 corners at the back are open, but everywhere else I was able to place bends. A full cutout of the mainboard I/O shield wouldn't fit on this panel, but it can occupy the open corner, and the small piece that I left in is easily removed and shouldn't be a problem, at least with pre-installed I/O shields. By now I have placed the order and should receive 5 cases in the last week of May. Subscribe for more on this and future projects, as well as other content surrounding small form factor systems, and thank you for watching.